Welcome to the second episode of the Hornet Hour podcast. I'm your host, Alex Berry. This month is National Principals Month, and I have with me some very special guests. Today, I am going to chat with three of our principals from across the district. First up today, I have Dr. Lindsey McBride. Dr. McBride is currently a first-year principal at Parkway Elementary. Welcome to the show, Dr. McBride.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Berry. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, we're excited to have you. So what I would like to do, since it's National Principals Month, I'd love for you to give me like a 30-second elevator pitch about who is Dr. McBride, how long has she been in education, and what was her journey to get here? Because I know this is one of your dream jobs.
This is it.
And let's start with who you are, though, first.
Okay. Well, for my elevator's pitch, I guess I would start by saying I'm a wife. I married my college sweetheart, Brad McBride, and I'm a mother of two daughters, Shelby and Riley, who's 5 and 2. And when I'm not in this school building, they keep me busy outside of school. And then I'm a principal, and this is my dream job. This is what I have worked towards my whole career. I started off as a classroom teacher. I have taught every grade level, 4 through 8.
Wow.
I've even worked with students pretty much pre-K through 8 in my 12 years of educational experience. So I've served as a classroom teacher, an instructional coach for a school building, and I have been a cheerleading coach. I've been an interventionist and an assistant principal, and now a principal. And so I've gotten to see several different lenses in the building that make the school successful. And this is ultimately my dream job that I've been working towards. And so that's pretty much my elevator speech.
Wonderful. So have all those years been at Bryant, or were you at other districts?
I've been in eight different schools.
Wow.
I started off in South Arkansas and El Dorado, and then I moved to Bryant, and I taught 7th grade math and science, and then I went to Amarillo, Texas for a little while.
Wow.
And I taught 4th grade out there, and then I moved to St. Louis, Missouri, and I taught in St. Louis Public Schools. Well, that's where I was actually an academic coach in St. Louis Public Schools, and then I moved back, and they decided they would take me back at Bryant, and I started at Bryant Middle School there again with the academic interventionist position. And before I moved to Collegeville Elementary School as the assistant principal when I got to move into administration, and I served a year at Bryant Elementary last year with Angela Mask at Bryant Elementary. That was a great year, and then now I'm here at Parkway.
Wow, that's awesome. You've been all over the place.
I have.
So since you're a first-year principal, what are some of the things that you're doing in your school building to help build the culture around here?
Luckily, I'm walking into a national showcase school for capturing kids' hearts, and so they already have so many great things in place: social contracts, affirmations, good things. You can see them launching students, and so when it's easy when you walk into a building that has some great things already in place. One thing that I'm doing this year, since COVID restrictions are lifting, just getting families back in the building. We've set up like picnic tables in the back for families to come enjoy lunch with their students each day, and then we had Hispanic Heritage Night already, which was a huge celebration with a lot of our families from around the community to come celebrate. We have Parkway Pop starting up. It's kind of like a spin from Watchdog Dads, but we want it to be more inclusive, and we have plenty of grandfathers and fathers and uncles, whoever wants to come help out. I want them here in the building. And so also to build our culture here, just being transparent. If somebody has a question, I try very hard to be open and honest, and so they know where I stand.
That's awesome. So I know you talked about Hispanic Heritage Month, and you have the picnic tables and stuff out there. What are some other things that you're doing to help try to build those relationships with those families?
Well, if you want to see me, you can come to the car line. I serve on the car line in the morning starting at 7:15, and I'm there to greet our families for our 3rd through 5th grade students in the mornings. And then in the afternoons, I serve K through 2 on the car line. I will put your numbers in, and I try to go out every day a few minutes early and knock on car windows and have them roll down the windows and tell them something that I have seen their students do well that day, or maybe their student has done a contact for someone. And so I love visiting with families in the car line. That's one of the biggest ways that I connect with families daily. I love to call families when their students are doing well. And then also, part of this job, the nature of the business is I call families when maybe a problem arises, and I try really hard to lean on parents to support their students. And if something happens, and we all make mistakes, we all do, and I call and I let the parents know, and 99.9% of the time, the parent just steps right in and helps me support their students. And so I have established that trust with parents as well.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you're taking the initiative to get out there and reach those parents, and I'm pretty sure they appreciate it too. So how about your students? What are we doing with the students? Social emotional learning is a big thing. CKH. What are some things that you're kind of doing in your role?
Well, the first thing is trying to, so I'm new to the building, new to family, so I'm trying to learn the students' names, and a part of being transparent is this is still a work in progress. We have over 600 students here, and I would love to say I know every single student by name, but I'm still learning those names every day, and my staff members and their families, and so that's something I'm working on. And I try to have a personal policy of every classroom every day. I want to visit every classroom every day, even if it's just for 2 minutes, just to pop in, see what they're doing, walk around, ask the students what they're doing. Sometimes one of my favorite things is to pop in a class and have the students just tell me all the things that they love about their teacher, and I'll try to write those things out on the board for the teacher as a reminder of all the great things they're doing. And so that's always fun. And then when a student does visit me in my office for a particular reason, I try to listen for understanding and let them know that, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes daily, but we can learn from them and we can change our behavior and know that they can trust me. I'm a safe adult to help them in the future to make better decisions.
That's awesome. That really is. You have a lot of staff here as well, on top of not only students. I know it takes a lot of good team members to keep this building running. What are some things that you're doing to keep their motivation going, keeping that trust between you and your staff, the relationship building aspect of it? What are some things that you are doing to try to keep that moving along?
Well, these teachers at Parkway Elementary School, they impress me every day. They are the hardest working educators out there. They really try to put the students first and above themselves every day. And so some of the things I do to build staff up, they probably get sick of my cheesy quotes and things like I'll bring around Tootsie Rolls and tell them to roll out on a Friday afternoon and go home and be with their families, or just bring around Sonic drinks and things like that. But also, I think the most important part, I believe trust is everything, and so I try to be a woman of my word, and if I say something, I don't want to be wishy-washy about that. I want them to know where I fall on the issues and that they can trust what I say, so I try to be honest. And also, just communicate with them. I send out a weekly informational bulletin so they'll know exactly what's going on in the bulletin. Then I reach out to parents and I tell them what's happening at Parkway, and I share that back with the teachers so that they know what I've communicated with the families. And so I find that nothing builds relationships more than just an open relationship with trust and communication.
That's awesome. So what have you enjoyed the most in your first couple of months of being principal?
So many things. Just getting to know the students and the staff, seeing student progress. I always say I'm so impressed with our kindergarten students. When they come in August, I just have so much admiration for the teachers in those classrooms. They're learning how to be successful students and what school looks like. And so watching them grow from August to now is just amazing what kindergarten can do. And that's across the building, but you see it more at the kindergarten level. I enjoy student progress. I enjoy making or seeing the teachers smile and know that they have a job that they come to each day and they enjoy and they find a sense of pride in their work. That fills my bucket.
I love it. So, earlier this year, Mrs. Cheryl, she sent out a little survey to all the principals. And one of the interesting facts I saw on there about you is you auditioned for American Idol. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you only live once. And when I was in Amarillo, Texas, the American Idol van came through and they hosted auditions. And I was a classroom teacher at the time, but you just never know. So I had a history of singing. I went to college to sing on a choral scholarship, and so I love to sing, and so I went in and tried, and I prepared my one song, and I ended up having to go to the second round, and I didn't really have a second song prepared because I had mentally prepared myself to get cut after the first round. But ultimately, I knew I probably wouldn't make the big stage, but that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to try it to check it off my list of bucket list items.
How fun. That's awesome. So what was your favorite memory from all your years, from all your experiences, from being to Texas, back in Arkansas? What's your favorite memory that you have had being an educator?
I would say two things that keep me in this business. I enjoy watching the students grow. I have students reach out from the past that I taught in my years as a classroom teacher that thank me so much for the things that I taught them and the tools that I helped them, strategies developed for like math, and they'll reach out and tell me, you know, how far they've made it and how much they appreciated my patience and the things that I taught them. And then ultimately, I really love the camaraderie of working with other staff members. There's nothing that brings me more joy than laughing with my teammates. I always say you have to laugh to keep from crying in this job, and so
Yes.
there are so many times when I have tears of joy when I see great things happening, and then when I'm able to get with my teammates or the office ladies and just laugh together about just different things. That's what really brings me joy, and it makes me wake up each morning and want to come do it over again.
That's awesome. Well, Dr. McBride, thank you so much for taking the time today to be on our podcast. If anyone out there wants to say hello to Dr. McBride, you'll catch her in the car line in the morning and the afternoon.
Come see me.
So thank you so much, Dr. McBride.
Thank you.
Hello, Bryant Nation, and happy fall. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of Did You Know? Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our annual report to the public. All public school districts in the state are required to give an annual report to their public every year. This must be done by November 1st. We actually did our annual report to the public at our special meeting on Monday, October the 3rd. In addition to doing the report in person, we also have a document where we try to capture a summary of what happened in the district for the previous year. So the annual report you see here is for the 21-22 school year. There are lots of information that you'll find. There's information that's financial related to the district. We have student data. We have information about our subpopulations, about special programs that we offer, such as our school-based health center. You can find just a snapshot of all that information in this document. While there is a lot of information, there are some pieces of information you may look at and ask yourself, why would they include that? Well, that's a good question, and we ask that question ourselves. And the answer is very simple. There are some pieces of information you will see that are there because it is required by law. I don't think everyone is dying to know how much revenue we get from soda machines, but that is a law from many, many years ago, and so that is why you see that included in the report. We also have a video that we've tried to capture most of the highlights of our annual report that kind of shows you what happened. There are many good things that are going on in our district, and we hope that you'll take the time to view the video and or look at the report as well.
Here on our next segment, we continue our special podcast dedicated to Principals Month with our newest addition to Bryant School District and Davis Elementary, Julie Roark. Julie, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Thanks. So I like to start out with all my principals, whenever I invite them on the podcast, is to give us a 30-second elevator pitch about who Julie is. Since you're new to the district, I'm pretty sure our listeners would love to know a little bit about you.
Well, Julie is a 27-year educator who is a mom to 3 kids. 2 are pretty much grown, and then I have a 15-year-old son that's a freshman this year. And I love what I do. This is my favorite place to be at school, and I'm excited to be in Bryant.
That's exciting. We're excited to have you. We've heard great things. So what led you to become an educator? How did you start this journey?
Well, Alex, I've been an educator. I've wanted to be an educator my entire life. Remember as early as kindergarten or first grade wanting to be a teacher. And that's all I've ever wanted to do is to be a teacher. And then as I continued on that journey, I really got a keen interest in reading. And so I got a specialist in reading, and I've done that. I've been a literacy coach before, enjoyed that process. I have taught grades pre-K through 6 at some point in my career.
Wow.
And I like different things about each of them. Taught 5th grade for a long time, but I love working with the younger grades in this job, and I love coaching in the younger grades too.
That's awesome. What other schools did you teach at besides Bryant? Or you didn't really teach at Bryant, I'm sorry.
I have taught, no, I haven't taught at Bryant. I have taught in Texas, in Henderson, Texas, for the first 3 years that I taught.
At the University of Texas?
No, in Henderson, Texas.
Henderson,
I taught at
sorry.
Northside Intermediate School there, and then I have taught in Benton at Caldwell Elementary. I taught at Westside in Jonesboro. Taught for Arkansas Virtual Academy for a couple of years. That was interesting. Lots of
Yes.
fun. Then I taught at Nettleton Intermediate Center. That was where I taught the longest, probably, in Jonesboro. And then I became the principal at University Heights Elementary in Nettleton.
Wow. You've been all over the place a little bit, haven't you?
Yes, sir. I
That's
have.
fun. So, this is your first year here at Davis. What are some of your favorite things so far about Davis Elementary that you like?
Davis is just a sweet school. It has a sweet spirit. It has a very family atmosphere, and I'm all about that. I love it. People are here because they want to be. Staff, most of our staff drives past 20 other schools to get here every day. They're here because they want to be here with Davis kids and with Davis family, and it's just a sweet place to be, and it's all about the kids, and that's what I really love about it.
Yes, Davis. It's out here in the middle of nowhere, almost, but it's a great place. I love coming out here and just visiting y'all because y'all do things a little fun out here, and I love it.
It's a neat community.
It
It's a small community atmosphere within a large school district, so I like that part about it.
So, as a first year principal, what's some methods are you doing to help build that culture that you would love to see here at Davis Elementary?
Really getting to know families. It's very important to me to be out front every morning greeting children and parents as they drop off in the car line. And then every afternoon, I'm the one that talks to the parents and dismisses kids. And I really enjoy doing that. It's my favorite part of the day, that first contact and that last contact. Talking to parents on the phone and talking to parents as they come in and out of our building. We're thrilled to have parents back in for lunch.
Oh, yes.
Thrilled to have them back in for events. We had a giant grandparents event, Goodies with Grandparents, and got to visit with so many families that way. And just every opportunity that I can get to know them and build those relationships, that's what I'd like to do.
Yes, and just a plug, we're having Thanksgiving lunch coming up soon. Is that correct?
November 15th.
November 15th. And
Everyone's invited, but you do have to have a ticket and a reservation, so we'll have enough turkey for you.
Yes. Or is it turkey or is it turkey dressing?
Turkey and dressing.
Oh, is it both? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yum. So you've built all these relationships with your families. How about your students? Social emotional learning, mental health's a big thing right now. How are you continuing that here in your building?
It is a really big thing right now, especially with the past 2 or 3 years that we've been through since COVID. And I hate even mentioning that word
I know.
just to talk about it, but it's real. And it's kind of made things a little different where we do have some very high social emotional needs. So that's had to be top priority. Academics are always first and student learning is always first, but we can't learn if we're struggling emotionally. So we're really working on those things, working on different avenues for students to have for support. Our counselors are fantastic at what they do and facilitating, but really even teachers and staff members just taking extra time to talk with students and to give extra opportunities for them to express themselves. And really that's the first thing that we have to address anytime there's an issue or a problem is what's the core of this? What's at the root of it? Because behavior is just communication about something going on deeper inside. It's always there. So we really are having to dig deep and look at those things.
That's awesome. So, in your first couple of months here, what have you enjoyed the most so far?
By far the kids.
Just the kids?
By far the kids. Being with the kids and talking to them and having fun with them and just getting to know them. So much fun.
And you're in elementary school, and they're fun to listen. I love it. I have a little niece. I enjoy just listening to her talk because she is hilarious.
You never know what they're going to say.
You don't. And like she blabs on about stuff that goes on. And so and so in my class, I'm like, honey, I don't know who's that. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. But she tell you all about it.
They are fun. And I tell parents, I'll only believe half of what they say about you if you believe half of what they say about me, because they will tell everything.
Yes.
It's really funny.
So you've been an educator for how many years again?
27.
27. That's awesome. You're close to... Don't they let you retire at 28 years?
Well, they do, but I have a 15-year-old, so I'm here for a while.
Oh, I don't blame you.
I'm here for a while, and I still love my job. I
Yes.
love what I do, so I don't have any plans of retirement anytime soon.
I have 18 more years before they let me retire.
And especially since according to my age, surely I must have started teaching at about 12, so
Oh, wow. So 28 years, or 27 years, I'm sorry. What is the most favorite memory you've ever had as an educator?
That's a hard question because there are so many, but I'll tell you one fun story. When I was teaching 5th grade in Jonesboro at Nettleton Intermediate Center, I had a student that moved in from out of state. This student had been retained twice without ever being identified for any learning issues or anything like that. It's been a long time ago, and that we didn't do as good of a job then, and especially in some other states. And so he moved in, and all he knew how to do was fight. That's the only way he knew to protect himself. He couldn't read or write, and he would get very frustrated. So I guess we had to really come to an understanding that he didn't have to fight anymore, that I do the fighting now for you, and it's in other ways. And we had to have that discussion multiple times. Well, one day, my youngest son was like 3, and I had to bring him to school with me because we had to leave for an appointment after a little while, and he was in the classroom for independent reading time, and those two, the 3-year-old and the struggler, just latched on to each other, and that struggling learner sat there and read word by word by word agonizingly for 45 minutes to my 3-year-old. The 3-year-old didn't move, and neither did the 5th grader. And they were bonded together from that time on, and that student became a part of our life for the next few years. And he came to my son's birthday parties. He was involved with us. We went to his sporting events, and that was kind of a special relationship. And he's at college right now on a basketball scholarship. So
Wow, that is awesome.
we got some help for him. He ended up being one of the most dyslexic kids I've ever known. And, it wasn't his fault that he couldn't read and write. So we got some help for him, and he's doing well.
Wow, that's an awesome story.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Wow.
Well, it was awesome for both of them, and then it was a good relationship for my son too. So it was really interesting.
That's awesome. So you said you like to read, and I see a couple books around your office.
A couple thousand books around my office.
What's your favorite book that you love to read to your kiddos?
Well, I have too many books that I love to read to my kiddos. I love The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. It's one of my favorites, just the message that it has. I love for teachers, I love Thank You, Mr. Falker by Patricia Polacco. Talks about the gift that teachers are to students and helping children. And then it's coming up Halloween, on Monday. And I think I'm going to read to the students Piggy Pie, which is a really fun read aloud.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
I'll have to share it. I think there might be a video of it around.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll share that with you, but it's just a fun read aloud. I love to read to kids, and I always read to my staff too. When we do
that's fun.
Professional development, they like new books as much as anyone. You are never too old for someone to read aloud to you, and you're never too old for picture books.
Look, and I'm okay with that. I listen to audiobooks, so I'm all about it.
Absolutely.
It's a lot easier for me to listen to an audiobook than to pick up and read one.
Even in 5th grade or 6th grade, the best time of the day was when I would read aloud to those kids. You bond with those books, and if I see former students, which I used to in Jonesboro all the time, I'd see former students. They don't remember specifically what we learned, but they always remember the books that we read together.
That's awesome.
Just a bonding experience.
That is awesome. Well, Julie, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be on our podcast. We're excited to have you in the school district, and we just can't wait to see what great things you're going to do here.
Well, thanks for coming to visit. I'm thrilled to be at Bryant Schools, and thrilled most of all to be at Davis and with this Davis Elementary family. And I'm just thankful for all the opportunities that everyone gives us, and I'm thankful for this community.
Thank you. Next up, we have one more principal, and I can't wait for y'all to hear him.
Hello, Bryant Nation, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of Did You Know? Today I would like to talk to you about our strategic plan. Our strategic plan has been around for 5 years now. It is something we started in the 16-17 school year. Our plan was meant to be a 5-year plan. However, with COVID, with us going a year without having any data to report, and also due to the fact that this is our last year to take the ACT Aspire test, we made the decision to extend this current strategic plan for another year. So we are releasing now our data from this past school year, the 21-22 school year. You will find as you go through it that there are some celebrations and there are some growth areas for sure. The survey that we sent out was sent out in February of 2022. During that time, I think we all remember that COVID was rampant. We had about 1,000 COVID cases of staff and students in our district, and it was a very difficult time. While we know we can look at our data and there are many things that we can improve on, we hope that our public and community understand what has gone on the last 2 years. We hope that everyone will support our staff and our teachers and know that they've been working very hard, and we definitely don't want them to get discouraged based on the data that they see. I also want to let everyone know that next year at this time, we will be reporting on the same goals and priorities. This will be the last year. The 4 goals that we have in this plan have been a constant for us, and we have tried our best to focus on those areas. As we look forward to creating a new strategic plan for the next school year, we will be asking staff members and stakeholders to please help us to be included as part of this plan. While we believe this plan has been a good one, we know that there are things that we need to do differently. And we hope that we have your input and feedback to help us continue to do good work. Thank you again.
Next up, we have the famous Mr. Dondre Harris. Mr. Harris has been an educator in the Bryant School District for many, many years. Mr. Harris most recently received the Above and Beyond Award from the Arkansas Association of Elementary School Principals. Mr. Harris, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So I'd like to start out this podcast since it is Principals Month, and we'd like to know a little bit about our principals. Give me like a 30-second elevator pitch about who Mr. Harris is.
I don't know if I have 30 seconds, but I would say Dondre Harris is a father, a husband, a lifelong learner, and someone who strives to be better and try to make those better around him.
That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. So you are a mastermind of building relationships with your friends, your family, the community. And what are some of those methods that you use to help build those relationships and maintain those relationships between your students, the staff, the community?
Well, I think that if you treat people right, do your best about doing right by people, that's the first step of building any kind of relationship. Don't believe that you're above anybody or below anybody, and just try to treat people as people, regardless of how they look like. If they red, green, blue, purple, or yellow, just treat them as people. And a lot of times that treatment will be reciprocated back towards you. And that's one thing that I try to do, whether it's kids, staff, parents, the man in the grocery store, anybody. Just try to treat them as people.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's very nice. So what was your journey into becoming a principal? Because I knew you back in the day when you were an assistant principal at the secondary level, then you went down to elementary, and then now you're back at secondary. But what happened before then? What made you become a coach, a principal, and all that good stuff?
Well, it seems like a lot of coaches always start off as athletes.
Yes.
And once that fire burns out and you can't, well, I guess the fire never burns out. You always want to be an athlete, but yes. You reach a certain point in your life when you can't. Mm-hmm. And those who can't, they coach. Oh. And that's kind of how I got into the coaching arena. And to coach, you had to teach. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to, when I got into college, I never thought that I would major in education.
Right.
And I always I was always fascinated by electronics and how they worked and how they connected. And my father even told me, he was also was a 30-plus year educator. He said, you don't need to major in PE. He said, you can do math. So that's kind of was my segue into education and also coaching. And so I started off, I coached for 11 years, how I got into the Bryant School District. Came in as a coach, and then the stars aligned, and I was able to be an assistant principal at the high school and then move on to Davis Elementary and now at Bryant Middle School. That's
awesome. So what advice do you have for, let's say, people who are wanting to start their career in education? What advice do you have for them?
Those wanting to start their career is, I think you interview every day. So once you come into a brand new job, like that interview process starts, it's like a new interview process. And I would just advise everyone to try to do your best at preparing, over prepare for things that just in case it happens. I tell new teachers, even veteran teachers all the time that, your plans, you plan your lesson, you plan how your kids will come into the room, you plan how they exit the room. So just the planning and preparation piece, I think, is key.
Planning is always important. We try to do that even at the district level a lot. We like to keep everything in line and plan. So you're at Bryant Middle School, and you've been here a couple months. What's your favorite thing you've enjoyed about being a principal here so far?
The kids. The kids. Sometimes we kind of lose sight of the kids just being in the day to day. But if you remove the kids out of the building, we no longer have a job.
Right.
But the kids, there's so many different personalities. They all come from different walks of life. It takes every kind of person to make the world go round. And, you can go talk to this kid about Fortnite. And you may go talk to this kid about rap music. You may go talk to this kid about kid cartoons or movies or anything. I think that right there kind of keeps me going.
Okay. How are you building culture here at Bryant Middle School? Because I know even at Davis, you had the infamous fins up, and those students, they loved that. What kind of things are you doing here at Bryant Middle School to kind of keep the students engaged, keep the staff engaged, and so on?
Well, I think the staff has been doing an awesome job, especially with the change in leadership here. Dr. Lindbergh likes to joke about it that we have another principal, but so the staff has been very, very resilient in their I guess the way that they've gone about it, and been very receptive to things that I've offered and that the leadership team has offered. But I think moving forward at Bryant Middle, with this staff and with this admin, I think the future is bright. The kids are also very resilient. The first couple of weeks of school, we changed how they come into the cafeteria probably every single day. How they came in and how they left, we changed it every day. But the kids never complain. Now, us as the adults were like, oh, how are we going to do it this time? But the kids, every time, okay. They say, you go to the right, they go to the right. Go to the left, go to the left. So the kids are very, very resilient.
Yep, you have to build those efficiencies in here. And the kids these days, they're just like, okay, well, let's go with it.
Yeah.
Let's roll with it. So you've been an educator for how many years?
Oh, man, this is year number, is it 18?
Wow, 18 years.
18, 19.
That's awesome. Have they all been in Bryant?
No. I got my first job in the Marvel School District.
Where's that at?
Marvel is in eastern Arkansas.
Okay.
It's in the Delta. It's in between probably Helena and Brinkley.
Okay, yes.
It's in Phillips County. And actually, when I went to Marvel, I worked with my mother-in-law. And so I actually knew my mother-in-law before I met my wife. So I did 3 years at Marvel. Then I went to the Little Rock School District where I coached football and baseball at J. Fair High School, and I taught at Wilson and Bell Elementary. and I got an opportunity to coach with my dad.
Oh, that's
Then
awesome.
I left there and went back to the Delta. I went to the Bryant School District at Barton High School, where I was the dean of students, varsity boys basketball coach, and assistant football coach. Did that for a year, and then I came back to Central Arkansas to Episcopal Collegiate School. So you go from the Delta, then where it's a poverty-stricken area, and then you go to Episcopal, where they have to pay to go to school. And then I came to Bryant.
Man, you've been all over the place.
I've been at Bryant now. This is my 10th year.
10 years.
Yeah.
So we probably started about the same time. This is my 10th year as well.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that was a good recruiting class that year.
but I grew up in Bryant, so I kind of never left the school district. I interned at the technology department for several years, and then they hired me on. So, so through all of that, what is one of your favorite memories that you have being an educator?
One of my favorite memories is probably starting at Davis when my son started at Davis as a kindergartner.
Oh,
Yeah, that is probably my fondest memory.
that is awesome. Well, Dondre, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. I know you got a lot of middle schoolers to corral, and we just appreciate you taking your time to be on the Hornet Hour podcast.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and I think you're doing an awesome job with this.
Thank you so much.